Welcome to Spotlight Documentaries, our series on young leaders and coalitions of the White House Drug-Free Communities program. We are here today with Director Gonzalo Cadima of the Youth Leadership Initiative of CADCA, which is the Community Anti-Drug Coalitions of America. CADCA is the nation's leading drug abuse prevention organization with over 5,000 community coalitions across the U.S. and over 230 coalitions internationally who engage all sectors of a community, especially youth. Director Cadima, what inspired you to become a youth leader in the fight against the addiction and drug epidemic? And what are your takeaway messages after 20 years of experience in the field?
Wow, that's a really interesting and deep question. In my case, it was having experienced a lot of pain in my family and just seeing what it can do to a person. And even though sometimes we focus on the numbers or how many people have passed away, there's a lot of pain in between. And kind of my effort has been to what can be done to prevent it and what can be done to avoid all of that pain and all of that suffering and ultimately is limiting to anybody at any age. And takeaways, 20 years, a lot is related to youth, their importance, their value, and also that we should not forget about always focusing on primary prevention because the landscape changes, there's different drugs, there's different trends. But one of the things we do know that work, and we know it's important, it's difficult sometimes to see or to measure, but we can, and it is prevention, primary prevention. I would say the lesson learned is to always keep it up front and to always advocate for it.
I think that's a great lesson. And with your experience training 1,200 youth yearly, what are the keys to a successful young leader?
I guess there isn't a formula, but some of the characteristics have to do with the uniqueness of each person, right? The ability to find different strengths on different people and to actually showcase and to be confident about your role. We do use a model, right? Sort of to align our work, which has to do with consciousness of self, which involves being aware of your strengths and weaknesses, congruence, finding that path of what I say and what I do match, commitment, right? It is not a one-time phase or a one-time step. It is actually to a commitment to a cause and collaboration. It's another intricate way of getting the best out of people and understanding that there's a common purpose. So I would say collaboration, common purpose. Also having to have the ability to deal with controversy, right? We live in a world where there's so many things, and things are not easy. So having the ability to listen, to come to very respectful, positive, with a guidance of what you're trying to find is also another ability. You could feel you're right, you could have all the data and everything else, but you deal with different opinions, different people, different generations at time. So I would say those would encompass some of the key factors of youth leadership.
And can you share some stories of young leaders that you've trained and how they've impacted their communities?
Yes, we have our National Youth Advisory Council, which was created 2 years ago here at CADCA. And I would say that really has been a wonderful experience, but because even though I've seen many youth and many groups and many coalitions achieve so much, like advocacy, policy change, just so many of the things that they were able to do. But I think this group of youth that come from different states and they bring their own experience, they were able to actually develop the concept of a National Youth Advisory Council. They came up with the key constructs key elements, like how they were going to be guided. And then they really took on many projects. They became mentors of other youth. They also helped us develop curricula, right? So they didn't want to just advise and stand back. They actually even met with dignitaries and with different people at the government level, because they didn't just want to be present in the sense that they want their voices to be heard. And they were active. And that's I think something that is important, that they have the opportunities to share all that they have learned. And CADCA, in a way, yes, there's a lot of excellent training, but our goal is also to facilitate the kind of the opportunity for everyone to bring their knowledge, their experience, and everything to the group. So I would say the National Youth Advisory Council has been really, really a success story, and has implications at the national level, but also at their own state and local level. So I would mention that.
And with our mission to empower 13 to 20-year-olds with tools to not only be leaders, but also role models in leading a healthy life, it only makes sense to have everyone involved. So how can more youth get involved in training and or leadership?
Go to CADCA, www.cadca.org. That's one of the ways where you'll find out where there's opportunities, where there's trainings. I would also say connect with your local coalition, right? Because we have so many wonderful coalitions that work with us. If they hear the interest, or if they reach out to their local coalition, then coming up with ideas, with opportunities, because we're always doing trainings, not only at our major events, but we go out into the communities. And sometimes we do based on the request of coalitions, right? They would say, can you come to our town, and would you do like a key essentials training? And this is how we would like CADCA to help. So we do that too. So I would say those two things. And yeah, we're everything is in our website, and any questions, comments, emails, like you did. So it really changes. It really shows also your leadership as to reaching out and contacting people, and then all of a sudden it becomes a reality. Reach out. There's many ways to reach out to CADCA.
Yeah. And I guess now I want to shift over to an important topic, the fentanyl crisis. So I guess what are we doing differently to step up to fight this current crisis?
I think this crisis has a special impact on youth, and that it has brought new dangers to youth, right? Usually, fentanyl was very much associated to older uh, adults, and the dynamic of the epidemic. But now we see that it's really has become part of all of the drug supply, right? And it's become like in different forms, like counterfeit pills and so on. So one of the things we're doing, and I have to mention that the DEA has taken a lead on and providing a lot of information to create awareness and education, which sometimes was completely unknown or unintended, right? So youth maybe at a higher level than before, because now the drug supply looks in it can be accessed in a different way, social media and all of these things that we have to be aware of. I think the other component is also to understand, as always, the importance of primary prevention, but also work and make alliances and work with treatment and work with Narcan. It has kind of set us in a position where we have to address it at many sides and many places, and find the best way to intervene. And still, coalitions have an important role on the prevention, on reaching out to the recovery communities, and also being the feet on the ground and the boots on the ground that are able to mobilize campaigns and credibility as to Narcan, but also as to primary prevention.
And what are some of the things all of us in the community can do to get involved and stop the fentanyl crisis?
I think having a voice, right? Being involved, whether it's your school, whether it's your community center, whether it's your local coalition. I think being involved and being aware and being part of the strategies and actually having a place. Our community model, our community change model has many sectors, but it has the youth sector, right? It has the youth sector. So making sure that that youth component is part of the prevention efforts of your community. Local problems, because it is a national problem, but it is also a local problem, looks different in different places. So how can we use the talent? How can we use the vision of youth and adults that can partner together to come up with local solutions that are sustainable in time? And the positive things, right? We sometimes just focus on what not to do, but things like you are doing, reaching out, learning, involving. Now that technology is much friendlier to everybody, there are many ways to become involved and to have a voice and to understand and to be educated also as to what's happening, right? Educated in the sense that you don't have to know absolutely everything about what's going on, but that you know what's affecting your community, yourself, and potentially your family and everybody else. So I think being active, being aware, and being committed. It's not easy, but being committed to doing good.
That's a truly inspirational answer. And CADCA has been one of the constant recipients of the ONDC Drug Free Communities Support Grant. How is this federal funding helping at the grassroots level?
This is what allows us to do the work. This is precisely that commitment and that partnership allows us to work with coalitions, allow to work with coalitions, but also to offer them training, to offer them technical assistance, to go through really looking at the problem and also applying the strategies that we do. So I could I could safely say that we couldn't do the work. We couldn't do everything that we've been able to achieve without that great partnership. And we encourage, right, more communities to become active, more communities to access this wonderful support and funding, because it makes a difference. It makes a difference, and it allows to coalesce, and it allows for coalitions to grow, to thrive, and to sustain their work.
Well, thank you to our government, first of all, for investing in programs such as CADCA. It truly does make a difference. And thank you to CADCA for investing in young leaders as well. Thank you, Director Cadima, for all your advice and time today.
My pleasure.